Okay, this is the big story everyone is talking about. Georgia and LSU fans gathering in advance of the much anticipated matchup of the season, the SEC championship game. The winner takes the title and they get a spot in the college playoffs. We need to win this one. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We are ready for Go Dogs around here. I'm Sean Gables.
And I'm Ray Fulbaum. So glad to be with you. Thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at each team and their firepower for the SEC championship game tomorrow. UGA's offensive line, averaging 6'5" in height, a whopping 328 pounds. There is no room for me on that line. It is the largest in school history. Meanwhile, LSU's offensive line, this could be a matchup also stacked with some very impressive players. Their O-line averages 6'3" in height and 321 pounds. So pretty equal size-wise as those guys are going to go at each other.
The girth is what makes it impressive because you typically expect that kind of height in the NBA, but now the NFL. The NBA has players.
And the NFL too. These guys on the line, they are big men. Yeah,
big men. And look, Ella just had to chime in because she went to school there. Can you tell? There are some healthy players too, by the way. Our Emily Gagnon has been spending time with the teams today.
All right, so Emily, you've been talking to these large plus-size athletes as we've been talking about. How are they getting ready for the game?
It's a good thing that both offensive lines don't face off, right? I mean, that would just be like a huge group against another huge group. So let's start off with DeAndre Swift. At 4 o'clock, I did say he is going to play tomorrow. Let's talk about the guys who won't play. Jake Fromm is going to be without his top 2 receivers. I'm talking about Lawrence Cager and George Pickens. Pickens will miss the first half of the SEC championship game. That's because he's suspended. He got into a fight last Saturday at Georgia Tech, so he's suspended for the first half of tomorrow's game. Guys, that's after being suspended in that game at Georgia Tech for violation of team rules. Earlier today, we saw Cager for the very first time in a long time. He had to have surgery on his ankle after he injured it on Wednesday of last week. Now, that surgery was a success. He is expected to make a full recovery. That's the great news. He is doubtful for any postseason play, so it's probably the last time you'll see him in a Georgia uniform. As far as Pickens is concerned, Coach O, he knows him quite well.
I recruited George, and I know his mama, so I'm so glad that he's such a great player. I thought that I really liked him. I thought he'd be an outstanding player. Obviously, Georgia has had #1 recruiting classes. They have guys behind them. We use the term next man up, put 11 men on the field and we fight like tigers, and I'm sure they're going to have the same plan.
So for Fromm, this is obviously bad news. He struggled this season getting the ball to his receivers. In the last 4 games, he hasn't completed 50% of his passes. So tomorrow, if the Dogs want to be successful, they have to find ways to stay on the field. I'm talking about long, sustainable drives so they can keep Joe Burrow off of the field. Burrow is more than likely the future Heisman Trophy winner, so keeping him off the field is ideal. Guys?
Right, Emily, thanks very much.